Because you deal with a lot of walks of life, people from a lot of different walks of life, what is something that you wish general public understand better about mental health?
Mental health needs to be treated just like any other physical health condition, for example.
Is it getting better, worse, or louder?
It's getting louder. I think that people are reaching out for help.
Hearing stories, everyday stories, does it affects you?
What I've learnt to do is compartmentalise that, and that can only come from experience.
If you could change one thing today about the system for tomorrow, what would it be?
Having overwhelming abundance of healthcare providers locally.
They've seen this podcast. What's the first brave step you want them to take?
Reach out to someone, a health professional. Go to your GP and have that conversation.
How can people support Shine Bright Mental Health?
I would really love for the community to get behind us.
And this is why we bring a lot of businesses into our podcast. The idea is there's so many amazing businesses in the community who are doing some phenomenal job, and as a service, this is what we want to do, that spread the word that they're doing. Hey guys, welcome to Studio 9 podcast. Today we're joined by Chloe Brown, a mom, a credentialed mental health nurse, a founder of Shine Bright Mental Health. Chloe brings together lived experience and clinical experience to challenge broken system, start real conversation, and support our community with honesty, strength, and heart. She does do surface level, but she does real. Welcome, Chloe.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I know that we like to usually start off with what you do so the audience know what is Shine Bright Mental Health, where it started, your story, and then we can dip deeper into today's topic. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Chloe. I am a credentialed mental health nurse. So I like to explain that the equivalent of what a psychologist is, but in the nursing world. So I've worked in the mental health field since I graduated my university degree since I was 21, and have worked in the mental health sector since then. So I have a wealth of experience and knowledge in that acute mental health space, and obviously have supported a lot of different age groups and different kinds of inpatient units versus community. So different experiences. I've done forensic mental health as well. So yeah, Shine Bright was born out of my own personal lived experience of having to choose, I guess, wanting to show up for my kids as a single mum, and also balancing that work-life balance. So I came out of the health service wanting to do just solo mental health nursing, and then it's just rapidly expanded into a multitude of services.
So was it the first one that was open in Maryborough or Harvey Bay?
Yeah, so the first office space we opened up was in Maryborough. Before that, it was just me working from home, and I had a small desk space down at the Urangan Wellness Centre that I had hired. But our first real office space was in Maryborough.
So while we were doing a bit of a research about Shine Bright Mental Health and stuff like that, so a tagline came up. Yes. My reputation precedes me. So what do people usually get wrong about you?
Yeah, so I think that people can misinterpret my intensity and passion, and I have come from a health service where you're very protected in that environment and that space, and coming out into the community sector, I really I learnt really quickly that I had to stay true to my clinical values and my clinical governance. And in doing so, I've set really clear boundaries on how I care for people and what care I deliver and the quality of the care that I deliver. And so that sometimes I have to be quite firm on who we support, who I engage with, and I speak my truth around what I believe to be right in that clinical space. So that doesn't always sit well with people, and so some people can be offended by my approach. But behind all of that is someone who is really passionate, empathetic. I care deeply for the people I support, and I really pride myself on delivering quality mental health care to our community.
So you said you've been nurse for how many years? You've been nurse for?
I started my nursing journey when I was still in high school. So since I was 15, I started studying and doing my assistant in nursing. So I've come from being the baby nurse and worked my way up. So that is 20 years I've been nursing for now. I had that experience and that exposure.
Now, there is so much a discussion about mental health, mental illness, PTSD. What have you seen in let's go back 5 years or 10 years? Is it getting worse? Is it getting better? Is it more awareness? What is happening at the moment?
I think that mental health is... people are talking about mental health more, especially in the last, 5 years since COVID, I think. What COVID highlighted was isolation really impacts people's mental health. So social connection is really, really important. I think that we are becoming better at connecting with people around talking about mental health or mental wellness. That's, I think, in the community is a big driver of shining a light on opening up conversations, making space for talking to people and getting people to identify when they're not travelling so well. So I think that space has become more open. Society's become more, I guess, welcoming to discussing what mental health is and what mental wellness is. And what hasn't changed, though, is the rate of services that we have. So people are becoming more help-seeking, and our health services haven't caught up with being able to meet those needs of the community.
So you're saying more and more people are actually reaching out saying, hey, I am having trouble. So which is a really good sign.
Really great sign, yeah. What isn't accessible is, I guess, free mental health care. So unless you're really, really unwell, going to the acute mental health services, so locally we have our Wide Bay mental health service, to access that help, you have to be really, really unwell. And we don't want people getting to that stage. We want to be trying to intervene prior to people becoming acute and falling into a crisis. But the facilities and the services community-wise, they're not equipped to be managing that level of support. So locally, I think the statistics are still three to 6 months wait for a psychologist. And for people to get help, there's a whole process behind that. You have to go to your GP, you have to disclose it. You are not travelling too well, you have to get a referral, a mental health GP care plan. Then you take that to a psychologist and you have to find one that you think would suit. And then you more than likely will get put on a wait list until a spot becomes available that you're able to access that support. So the time between reaching out, identifying that you're not travelling too well, and then by the time you actually get help, there's a significant gap in that space where where people can decline significantly or go, no one's there to help me when I really need it, and so I'm just going to continue to go along and push that aside and push it down, which manifests differently and creates a worse outcome in the long run.
So where does like services like Shine Bright, where do you guys sit? What stage are you come in, or people can reach you out?
Yeah. So where we're different, we are trying to create a service that is free mostly to our clients. So I am very dependent on receiving government grants and applying for grants. So, and that's to keep that mental health access free. You don't need a referral to come to us if you can if you fit into one of our government funded deliverables that we have open. We do have option where people can pay to come and see us at an hourly rate. That again, that's not, you don't need a mental health care plan. You don't need a referral. You can access us at any time. We don't have a wait list because we are really good at getting people in and getting people out. So we are really motivated to find out what's going on for people. We don't necessarily want to discuss or bring up people's trauma and their history. We want to look at what's not working for you right now, what symptoms are you experiencing, and how can we treat those symptoms so that you can function in your everyday life. The trauma can be unpacked at a later stage, but we want people managing and emotionally regulating so that they can continue to work and show up for their families and have clarity and self-care so that we can deal with the trauma at a later time. Let's look at how you're functioning.
Because you deal with a lot of walks of life, people from a lot of different walks of life, what is like something that you wish general public understand better about mental health? What would you say that people should understand what mental health is?
I really like this question because I really believe there's different levels of mental health care, and mental health needs to be treated just like any other physical health condition. For example, when people come to me and they want to have their mental health treated or their symptoms treated, they really shy away from that pharmacotherapy intervention, so medication for your symptoms. That has a really, you can treat symptoms really, really well with medications. And there's a really big stigma associated with having medications to treat those symptoms. And I often say to the clients that I see, you don't have to suffer through distress. There are medications that can help with that, and they can be used short term. They don't have to be a long term thing. But why are you suffering through that? You wouldn't suffer through a heart attack, would you? You would welcome the medication to relieve that pain. And so trying to get people to review and re-look at how they see medication in that space is super important, because what medication can do is help push down the symptoms that are stopping people from being able to access their emotion regulation skills or their mindfulness skills that really would work in any given time. But because they're experiencing clinical symptoms, those really good things that they would normally do, they're not effective, they're not working because you're experiencing symptoms that need to be treated. So I really think that people should re-look and get support and clinical knowledge and guidance from their GP, from a mental health nurse, from a psychiatrist around the role that medication can play to help with acute mental health symptoms.
But sometimes when you go to a GP and you tell them that, hey, I'm really depressed or I'm getting, so they tend to give you refer or something, depending which GP you go to. They tend to give you like antidepressant pills and stuff like that. So if that's the medication we're talking about that helps you while the treatment's happening, you speak to somebody to help you out.
Yes, everything together works really well. So therapeutic psychotherapy works really well when you're not consumed with anxiety. Yeah, so if you're not having that anxiety and that distress treated, it's going to be really difficult to show up to that psychotherapy and give that your all in that space, because you're preoccupied with what's going on physically, emotionally, mentally for you. So having that medication and that support can really help progress your recovery from a psychotherapy perspective as well.
So do you think this is happening more and more in the younger generation? Because when I look back to my parents' time or our parents' time and everything, I think they've gone through some crazy times. But I don't really see or I think heard much of they going to a therapist or having a medication or something. Is it more becoming that now, or is it always there but we didn't knew about it?
I think that in today's society, the cultural norms have a much higher expectation of our younger generation. So they're constantly on their phones scrolling through content that is being created. It's not an accurate representation of what life is actually like. It's a 10-second snapshot of a perception that people are trying to sell, that you should be healthy and skinny and you should have your life together all the time. You should be able to show up as a really great parent or as a really good friend, for example. You should be able to study. You should be able to do all of these things and show up in this amazing way. And that's just not reality. They don't demonstrate the social pressures, the financial pressures of life at the moment. So the world's really different, and there's a big kids can't switch off now. It's difficult to get away from that societal expectation of how they should show up as kids. We don't know what that feels like. We're not teenagers in that everyday space, but what we can see is pressures are different these days, I think.
So is it more younger females, kids, younger male kids, or it's the mid 30s to 40s generation? What generation that you see more and more coming for help?
It does vary. I think what people are recognizing is they're not able to regulate their emotions, and that's what people are showing up. They're finding life really stressful, and they're finding pressures of expectations really stressful. I think that it fluctuates with different ages, different genders. There's not one specific type of person that comes through our door. I guess what we are putting out for a specific cohort that we support. And so at the moment, that's women experiencing domestic and family violence. So we're seeing a lot of women come through our doors. What we have been seeing is a lot of men actually calling through to get some support, which is what has driven our Men and Youth Hub to be opening and to bring Shine Bright into that men's space, because we've had a lot of men reaching out for help, for mental health help, for drug and alcohol help. So yeah, it's a ever changing space, and I think that mental health care needs to be flexible to shift really quickly and rapidly to meet the needs of the community and what's coming forward in that space.
So, do you think is it getting better, worse, or louder?
It's getting louder. I think that people are reaching out for help. It's more out there, yeah. And the more louder it gets, the more that brings attention to that specific space, right, and that specific issue in society. And so it is something that is going to continuously fluctuate the more that it's brought out into the community and highlighted in the community. So we'll see waves. We've got different community groups speaking out and wanting to have that connection of mental health in the community. So that brings that highlights mental health, and people feel connected in that space. So I think it's getting louder. People are recognising that they can speak out and have support. There is support there. Yeah.
So, in terms of like support from because you're completely government funded, which I didn't really even realize that you are completely free organization, so that does.
We try and keep it free as much as we can, yeah. So I'm not government funded, I'm grant funded. So I spend a significant amount of my time applying for grants so that I can keep.
So there are government grants. So is it like the state grant or is it the local grant? What kind of grant?
So yes, state and federal funding is predominant. There's no local funding that is available to us at this point in time. We have to work really hard to sell what we are doing in the community because there's lots of competition out there. So that is why we have to maintain such a high standard of clinical governance in our organisation, and we have to ensure that what we're delivering is evidence-based and it is the most up-to-date treatment that people can access.
So there are many services like you who do?
There are many health and wellbeing services. There are not many credentialed mental health nurses out in the world doing what I do. I think I'm one of 2 or 3 locally, and I believe the other 1 or 2 work for the health service. So that I'm very unique in my space, and I'm very rare. I'm a rare commodity.
So they say it all starts from home. If you identify something as at home with a kid or a friend or someone, what should parents should look into if they see that the kid's going to depression, like symptoms or reactions, they're getting angry all the time? What are the things that they should be mindful of watching their kids? What do you suggest?
I think that different age groups require different engagement in therapeutic interventions. So evidence-based practice would indicate that play therapy for our young children is really effective because it holds space for kids to be able to express themselves through play. And what play therapy, what we want to do is instill in our kids that going and seeing someone is okay. That should be the norm, is reaching out for help and having that regular support and regular space to talk to someone. And as we get through the ages, it is different for that child. It's going to be different. It's going to look different, whether that is engaging with Headspace or whether that's engaging with a psychologist or a school counsellor, or also getting into community groups, sporting clubs that have a really good mentor ethos, I think, is really important, where they hold really good morals and values around mental health, around family and domestic violence, understanding abuse and what that looks like and how that shows up for kids is super important.
So, being a mom, being a business owner, you know, and hearing stories, everyday stories, you know, how do you take it? Like, you know, like, does it affects you, or you, if it affects you, but you know that I'm here to help, you know?
Um, Absolutely. Everything that I hear heavy stories every day, and what I've learnt to do is compartmentalize that, and that can only come from experience and learning and making mistakes. But how I show up for my people, I have to be there. I have to be present. I have to be actively listening to people, and so that weighs heavy in my own body. What I prioritise is debriefing. I have clinical supervision that I attend regularly, so that is my self-care. We have an amazing team of staff, of clinicians and staff members that I can go to and go, you know what, that really hit hard with me, that session, and we talk about it and we debrief internally, and I'm then not taking that home with me, and I can check out and then I can go and I can be mum and I can be there for my kids.
Well, I can only imagine how difficult this can be. You know, some people say it's a very easy job, people are hearing, but I can really correlate because it can be so hard mentally, and you're hearing the stories and you have to cut off yourself before you leave work or going home, because there's a whole different life outside this for you. You know, it's I think it's amazing what you do for this community, and this is why we bring a lot of businesses into our podcast. The idea is there's so many amazing businesses in the community who are doing some phenomenal job, you know, and as a service, this is what we want to do, that spread the word that they're doing, you know, and I don't think anyone's doing this in the Bay at the moment, but whoever we bring onto it, we feel that they're heroes of our community, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job, you know, and especially in anything to do with mental health. If our podcast reaches two people by listening or by saying, hey, I think I should go back to Chloe and have a chat, I think we've done our job. Yeah. You know, and every help counts, what we say. Why should mental health be treated with the same urgency as a physical health?
Physical health and mental health, they're dependent on each other in our bodies. Our systems interconnect. The body doesn't go, that's a mental health issue and I'm just going to put that over here, or I'm having a physical health episode, I'm going to allocate that over to this system. Your body doesn't work like that. So having your mental health is just as important as your physical health. If your mental health is not if you're not tracking well with your mental health, that impacts your sleep, it impacts your metabolism, it impacts a multitude of physical health components. If you're experiencing anxiety, your heart rate and your blood pressure go up. If you're constantly hypervigilant or being triggered with fight or flight response, your cortisol is high all the time, you're running high, that is going to deplete your physical health. So you would not access physical health treatment for serious physical health episodes like a heart attack, diabetes, anything like that. So you need to be looking after your mental health. It needs to be your priority.
This is just a question, like, what happens if someone doesn't look after? What happens if it goes on for, let's say, a very long time, and I don't want to speak to anybody, I'm very shy, or I'm very scared what people are going to think about me, and especially sometimes it can happen with men, because men are the money maker in the house, or I'm working in mines and I'm going through a lot, and what people are going to think about me. So what will happen in that case when someone drags it for way too long?
Often we will see the mental health symptoms manifesting and being self-managed and self-treated, and that can show up through a lower tolerance to being able to regulate emotion. So we'll see people becoming more angry, easily frustrated, having relationship difficulties with their spouses, with their partners, with their children. It shows up in other parts of people's lives, and people will self-medicate using alcohol. Alcohol is our most accessible substance to everyone over the age of 18 legally, and it's a quick fix to make you feel much better when you're feeling distressed. So we see that. We see that cycle, and that will get worse for people. So the dependence on that substance will increase, and then that will cause tension and conflict within their lives. What is important is that people will access help when things become unmanageable in their lives, when something that is really important to them is threatened, they're threatening that they're going to lose that, that's when people will seek that help, where we want people to start recognising it before it gets to that point where there's help there. We don't need to get to that point, but standing up and being not worrying about what other people will say or think, that perception, it doesn't matter. What matters is you and your mental health. Everyone else is just white noise. So yeah, get the help.
If you could change one thing today about the system for tomorrow, what would it be?
Having overwhelming abundance of healthcare providers locally would solve everyone's issues. Accessibility is super needed, and also having mental health care that is free. So getting clinical mental health care is really, really important, and I wish that was more accessible to people in our community.
If someone listening feels seen by this conversation, they've seen this podcast, what's the first brave step you want them to take?
Reach out to someone, a health professional. Go to your GP and have that conversation. Give Lifeline a call. There are a multitude of people that you can reach out to get some guidance around where to get support. But also talking to someone that you trust and just going, I'm not travelling too well and I think I might need some support. Your first point of call is going to your GP. That's the most accessible health professional that you have to you, or you can call a mental health nurse. We're often don't have referral pathways or that wait list as well. So, but just reach out to someone and get that support.
How can people support Shine Bright Mental Health? By spreading awareness, let people know, family, friends. What would you say to the audience?
I would really love for the community to get behind us. We are constantly pitching for federal and state funding. That's how we're surviving at the moment. And so any feedback that we can receive, letters of support that we can receive from other organisations that have worked with us, clients that have been a part of our service, if there are people that are able to donate to our foundation, we have a foundation arm as well that continues to allow us to cover free therapy for people. So I really would like, that support in our community to be backed on that government funding level.
Fantastic. Now, before we wrap up, we usually do this a fun rapid fire round with our guests. So it's a one-liner. I think a couple of guests have gone 2-liners, 3-liners, but we'll keep it short. Early morning or late nights?
Late nights.
One word clients use to describe you?
Passionate.
Most common myth about mental health.
That you can do things by yourself.
One thing that instantly help your nervous system.
A really, really big, deep breath in and a massive sigh out. Resets the nervous system.
Perfect. A boundary you had to learn the hard way.
Everyone is going to like you.
Fair enough, and I totally agree to that. Music that gets you through the tough days.
Taylor Swift. I am a Swiftie, absolutely.
One message every young person needs to hear.
You are going to do amazing things.
Finish the sentence. Mental health matters because.
Because why not?
Perfect. Well, guys, if you have watched this podcast right to the end, final message to anyone struggling quietly right now.
Give us a call. We are always here to help. Jump on Google Shine Bright Mental Health. Give us a call if you are really struggling. We will guide you and direct you on how to access that support.
Guys, we'll leave all the details, the website, the links about Shine Bright Mental Health. If you're looking for help, all that it takes is a phone call or a click of a button, and you will have the help right there. So don't be shy, don't be quiet. Reach out to any of the services that's in the Bay, or reach out to Chloe, and they'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Chloe.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.